Back in the Mini in a snowstorm? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, this video I want to discuss range. I want to give you guys my philosophy on range. Now, first off, my name is Matt, and this is Tech Forum. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On my channel, I primarily discuss life with a long-range rear-wheel drive 2018 Tesla Model 3. However, my wife and I just picked up this 2020 Mini Cooper SE electric. It's the first Mini Cooper electric in the state of Illinois, and I believe the first one that's been delivered to a purchasing customer in the Midwest. I say it that way because one of these cars was won by a chiropractor through sweepstakes, and he took delivery before us, but he doesn't have a YouTube channel, so we're not really hearing anything from him. So as one of the first, I wanted to report to you guys my findings on this car and my impressions of it and that. And I already did a delivery video and just uploaded a walk-around video. And I wanted to give you guys my take on range because, as I mentioned in my last video, the elephant in the room with this car is range. And people have been, I don't want to say whining about it, but kind of. The fact that its EPA rated range is 110 miles. And right off the bat, I have to tell you that we've put 100 miles on this car, and not on one charge. We put 30 miles on it, charge it, and 40 miles on it, charged it. But we have driven the car for 100 miles so far, and it actually appears to me that the rated range is pessimistic. That this car actually has really more range than accessible than the EPA is rating it at. Now, that does not mean this is an efficient car. It's actually not. It's a box, and so it's not a slipstream body, kind of the way Tesla builds their cars, the Model 3 and the Model Y. This is a box moving through the air. This body style is designed for a gas engine. They weren't as concerned about efficiency. So this isn't necessarily an efficient car. I'm not arguing that it is, but I want to defend Mini's position in making this car the range that it is. So this requires a little bit of explanation of the layout of the equipment, the components in this car. So this is essentially a gas engine Mini Cooper that they've pulled the gas drivetrain out of and put the BMW i3S drive unit up front and a pared down i3 battery pack under the rear seats with all the high voltage cabling going up the tunnel. There was only so much room that they had to work with in this body without radically changing the unibody in the car. So that was one consideration. Another consideration was cost. This car starts at under $30,000 US, and they're pretty well equipped, even the base model. This particular car is the Signature Plus trim, which is a step up. It's got the sunroof and moonroof at the back, Harman Kardon sound. It's got certain other power folding mirrors and just other features that the base car doesn't have. But the base car is still pretty well equipped with nav and that. And to keep that price in the sub $30,000 range for an EV is not an easy task. Well, people have complained about this car being a parts bin car, that they put a drivetrain from one car into the body of another rather than starting from scratch and designing a ground up EV. Now, would that have been preferable? Yes. In many ways, it would be preferable to design an EV from the ground up, because you avoid all of the compromises that you have to make by taking something designed for another component layout and altering it. But what that parts bin arrangement for this car has done for Mini is it has allowed them to take an already developed drivetrain and battery pack, already developed electronics, and use an already developed body and suspension and interior package, marry the two together, and keep the cost very low. Now, if they were to increase the range on this car, it would add weight to the car, and as it is, this car is I believe 300 pounds heavier than the gas version. Not much, but enough. But what it also did is this car has a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. The battery pack is under the rear seats, and the drive unit is where the engine was. It actually has better weight distribution than a gas Mini, and the center of gravity is 1.5 inches lower than a gas Mini. And what that does is makes this car handle even better than the gas Mini. There's one reviewer in the UK that tested one of these electric Minis against essentially the identically equipped gas car and had a professional Mini driver test them on a go-kart track, and the electric was, I believe it was 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds faster around the track. So this car arguably handles better and drives better than a gas-engined Mini Cooper. So in order to keep all of those things, keep the weight down, the driving dynamics good, to keep the cost low, to be able to use the existing body without intruding on interior space and redesigning everything, they were limited to the range they had to work with. Now, I do believe that their demographic research has justified their decision to go this direction. And that research would suggest that most people don't buy Minis as their primary car. Now, you could use this as a primary car, but most people buy Minis as a second or third car. In our case, it's our 5th car. We're probably getting rid of my wife's Ford Fusion all-wheel drive, but that still leaves us with 4. And so most people buy a Mini as a spare, fun car. You're not going to be in the car for 100 miles even. You're gonna go out for 20 miles and flog it on back roads, or maybe 30 or 40 miles probably at the most, before you get back home and plug it in again. So my goodness, I mean, how much range do you really need to have? I mean, it's this car doesn't need it. And I'll give you my philosophy on it, and that is that you really only want enough battery to do what you need to do with a buffer. Now, we have our 2014 Smart Electric Drive. That car has 64 miles of range. Now, I don't think I'd want less range than that, but that range is, I'll say it's adequate. So if we go out and do 25 miles of errand running, which is about the limit of how much we typically do if we're just running to, there's some stores we typically go to, that car will charge it to 80 or 90%, go do our errands, come home, we've still got half a charge. So now, occasionally we're going to be driving it more than that, so it's good to have more range, but still 64 miles of range, we've never encountered that as an issue with the Smart. So with this car, having roughly twice that range, or close to twice that range, about 90% more range, this car has a surplus of range. It's going to be a non-issue at all. In our case, we have my wife's Ford Fusion, and even if we get rid of that, we have my long-range Model 3, which is over 300 miles of range, and we have a gas-engine BMW convertible. That's a fun weekend car that we could use for longer range, state-to-state driving. The couple times a year we may need to do that. This car was never meant for that. And my philosophy on range is, I think that range is almost like money, where you ask somebody how much is enough and they say just a little bit more. Range is sort of that way. How much range is enough? Well, my gas car has 350 miles on a tank, so my electric car should have at least that. Really? Why? Why? I mean, seriously, why? Do you use a full tank of gas every single day you drive? No, you don't. Very few people ever will, and the only time you do is if you're traveling. And there are options. If this is your only car and you want to travel, you can stop every 90 miles at a DC quick charger. It would take you a long time to get to where you're going, but you could do that if you really want to. But aside from that, there are other options. You can rent a car or whatever, but typically you are going to fill up your car, your gas car. You're going to fill up the tank once a week. Once a week. I know people that fill up their tank once a month. And then those same people have actually complained to me, when we got the Mini especially, why would you get a car with only 64 miles of range? And I go, you drive 30 miles a day. That's less than half the range that car has available. What are you talking about? Yeah, I mean, well, I fill up my car once a week. Really? So when you back your car into the garage, what, you can't grab a cord and go each evening? the reason range is a concern for people, and I don't mean to sound rude, if you're a gas owner and you've tuned into this video to learn about EVs, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to offend you. That's not what I'm trying to accomplish here. But what I am trying to, traction control, what I am trying to accomplish in this explanation is to let you know, with an electric car, since you're not inconvenienced driving somewhere else to a gas station to gas it up, you have your cord at home. So you're not charging it once a week, you're plugging it in every day. Check it out, there is a red Model S and a Mini Cooper. Or red Model 3, excuse me, and a Mini Cooper. My kind of people. I actually know that family. Anyway, so it's, since you're not charging an electric car once a week, you're charging it daily, you need to get off your brain that you need 300 to 400 miles of range. Get that off your mind, because you're not driving that much during the day. And I know I'm going to have a couple people in the comment section say, I drive that much a day. Really? Well, you're the rare exception. You know, buy a longer range EV, or don't buy an EV then. You know, nobody's twisting your arm and forcing you to do it. But I'm just saying people need to stop complaining so much about range. The fact that you can plug it in every night really alleviates, I would say 95% minimum, 95% of range complaints. And that's something that we really need to keep, you know, foremost on our minds. So anyway, this video is getting a little bit long, as many of my videos are, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it short here. I'll be doing uploading videos probably daily, not only on this car but on the Tesla as well. And with this this quarantine order that we have, which doesn't mean we have to stay at home, but you're supposed to, here in the state of Illinois, we're supposed to minimize how much interaction we have with the public. Going out and driving is fine, but going to stores with, you know, populated with a lot of people there, we're supposed to minimize that. So I'm going to have time. I will be running urgent appliance service calls, but I have plenty of time, so I'll be shooting more videos, and you guys can expect daily videos. I did 2 videos today, so probably the next couple of videos for this car will be driving dynamics and maybe some of the interior features and that. But I'm really looking forward to doing videos on range for this car. In this drive, I've gotten 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour, so whatever that equates to be, I'll do the math, 280 watt hours per mile maybe. Got the seat heat on, I have the cabin heat on. It's wet and rainy, and I've been flooring it quite a bit, and you know, it is what it is. It's, you know, it's fine. So, but I will be uploading videos both on this car and on the Tesla frequently. If you prefer the Tesla videos, that's totally fine. I have quite a few new Tesla videos coming up here soon, but everybody's tuning into all the other channels, the YouTubers that have purchased Model Ys, and watching those videos. So while the internet's being flooded with Model Y videos, I wanted to go ahead and post about our Mini Cooper. In fact, I have a couple video ideas coming up that I'm going to be shooting regarding all 3 cars, and also what it's like to be an all EV family. Yes, we do own a couple gas cars, but a family that does 99% of their driving purely electric. We have a car for each, electric car for each licensed driver. Also, I have a video coming up on, we only have 1 charging circuit. We have 2 chargers, my Tesla charger and J1772, but they're both in 1 circuit in our fuse box. And how do we go about that? It's kind of like having 3 people in a house with 1 bathroom. I'll word it that way, but I have a video coming up on that. So keep your eye on the channel, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments section below. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and as always, stay charged. Bye-bye now.